Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel and we talk about them in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so happy to have you here. And today we have to talk a little bit about this new Buffy the Vampire Slayer series that's coming out, this sequel series, because three of the characters that we talked about before now have more information that has come out about them, and we've got to talk about it. So let's jump right into it. All right, so we have to talk a little bit about this new Buffy the Vampire Slayer sequel that's coming out, because a lot of the same people that were running it before are still running it. And also, we've gotten some potential updates on three of the characters that only adds to what we know and allows us to speculate more as to what this series is exactly going to entail. So let's kind of look at it. With this series actually having a lot of the same people running it, I have high hopes with this series already. Buffy the Vampire series was exclusive without being preachy. It was one of those things that was really, really good. And no matter what side of the fence you were on in terms of whether or not you liked Buffy or hated Buffy, you had to at least admit that at times it was pretty good television. And I think that it holds up very well today. And you can put whatever narratives you want on the series. But at the end of the day, the good guys were the good guys and the bad guys were the bad guys on that show. And it helped to make it one of the most successful TV shows of its time. Something that is worthy, I think, of being remade. If they could do it the same way they did it before, it's going to be a success. It's going to win over fans. It's going to impress everyone who gives it a shot. Because a show like Buffy was always about good versus evil, and that kind of thing never gets old. As a movie fan, as a television addict, I really just, at the end of the day, love a good story about good versus evil. And the good versus evil doesn't have to be this or that. It only has to be good versus evil. And when I say this, I know what's going to happen in the comments. But rest assured that while Buffy did have guys that were evil, it also had girls that were evil. And it treated every one of its enemies exactly the same way. And that's the kind of standard I will hold the show to. That's the kind of standard I hold anything to. Is it treating the bad guy like the bad guy and the good guy like the good guy with no explicit difference, except at times when that explicit difference is necessary. And there are plot points and times in the plot where stuff like that is going to be necessary. So I thought we would talk about our friends first. First, the friend that's not really mentioned here. The friend that they don't talk about is Cole. Cole is a confident alpha type who naturally takes charge. And a lot of people are saying, and all the trades are saying, he's got the markings of Xander or Faith. Yeah, I don't know, but okay. Then, of course, there's Mr. Burke, the school librarian that takes a dark turn by becoming a vampire. But now that we have that out of the way, let's jump into what was revealed, because I think that what was revealed is kind of cool. You basically have Hugo, and we're going to talk about Hugo first. The description for Hugo, according to TVLine.com, says that Hugo is an out and proud nerd who comes from money. Now, this is telling because this means, hey, he's a nerd, but he is also the one that is kind of in love with Nova. We know this from the past description of the character. He's the one that's in love with Nova. So that's kind of cool right there. We know that he's going to be sort of this nerd. We know he's going to be in love with Nova. And for a while, that sort of gave everybody these Willow-esque vibes. Now, I'm going to tell you why I no longer think that's true in a minute. But next up, you have Gracie, and Gracie is considered to be an expert on vampires. She's apparently read everything, she knows everything about vampires, and here's the kicker. She is an expert on not just vampires, but apparently on Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well. So yes, she's going to be that person. She may in fact just turn out to be like essentially a teenage Giles, kind of helping where she can, knowing what books to go to and knowing what to do. And then let's talk about Nova. Nova is our new Slayer, and it says about Nova that she is a cerebral 16-year-old and that she is a bit of a loner. But this is what it says about her also that really makes it different. It says the new Slayer, TV Line can exclusively report, seems more askew to Willow than Buffy. So when I look at this and I see the idea that this Slayer is more akin to like a Willow type, what that tells me is that this Slayer could potentially use magic. This Slayer could be a double threat. I mean, they could potentially use magic. They could know the dark arts. Wouldn't that be exciting? Because Willow, towards the end, became really awesome and really powerful. And imagine if this girl is already becoming that powerful of a witch. She could potentially be the best Slayer ever. Now, of course, yeah, she's never going to be better than Buffy in the fans' eyes, but we don't live in their world. And that's something you have to realize. We don't live in their world, we live in the real world, and we're comparing these characters to the ones we love. And anytime you're comparing characters to the ones you love, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. So you have to go into it with a more open mind. And when I look at this, I'm kind of excited because they could have just gone the typical Buffy route. They could have made this Buffy the Vampire Slayer 2.0, with Buffy being exactly the same, only now named Nova, with this girl who knows all about vampires who could basically just turn out to be the Willow type, or this nerd who's in love with Nova just being awkward and all that, and that could be our new Willow type. I think it's really cool that they sort of swayed away from that a bit. And especially if you're going to have this teacher that turns into a vampire, this librarian turns into a vampire, and you're going to have this guy who's sort of that natural leader. I think that with him, I think that he might sort of be a friend to everybody in this and maybe not really be part of the group at the beginning. Maybe he is that natural leader. Maybe he does take charge at times. But ultimately, he's got to make sure that he is just as much of a supporting character as everyone else, or this series doesn't work. It falls apart. That's the thing about the Buffy universe. It never fell apart because every character was just as important as every other character. And as long as they maintain that, I think the show is going to succeed. I think the show's going to do well. If they maintain the same feel as the original and with all of the same people running it as before, I can legit see this being a success. If they maintain the same Buffy humor that happened before as well, because Buffy was known for being an icon at pop culture references. And I could see it being a success if it follows that same formula, definitely. I think that this show may just be really cool. I'm anxious to go back into the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and see what happened. Now, I did have a person in the comments that was telling me about, yeah, I kind of worded some stuff kind of a little bit weird. I was saying I think it should go back to being one Slayer, that, it broke canon, essentially, by having the potentials. This isn't entirely true. However, I do maintain that I would rather it be one person. Now, I made it sound like the potentials were just every girl. And essentially, that's kind of what they said in the show, that every girl could, if they were potentials, then become a Slayer. And that's kind of the narrative of the end of the show. I think it would make it really cool if we were taken back to that one Slayer. Maybe if something's happened to the potentials, maybe most of them are dead. That's what someone else in the comments speculated on my channel, is that maybe some of them are dead. Maybe most of them are dead. And this is just the last hope of these potentials then. That would be cool. But I really like the idea of, since we had all the potentials, that follows one Slayer without the sort of crutch, if you will, of all these other Slayers coming back in at any convenience. The entire reason that we had so many Slayers in the Buffy universe is that Buffy died a couple times, and every time she died, another Slayer was selected. And then they had the potentials. But I think that if they go back to this one Slayer mythos, somehow, that would be really cool. But I do want to know what you guys think about all this. So, are you excited about this series? Do you think it's going to be a lot of fun? Do you think that this series is going to be worthwhile? What do you think of these character ideas? Are they something that appeals to you, or do you find these characters to be atrocious? Which character, in fact, this is the part I want to hear, is which character of these new characters do you think is going to be your favorite? Because remember, this is a positive channel, so I can have you tell me negative things, but I also do want to hear some positive as well. So definitely let me know what character you don't like and what character you think you're going to love. As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you're leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Then don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this crazy conversation as well. And then make sure you hit that like button. It's free and it really does help the channel. It helps the algorithm to actually recommend our video, to help to get us up there so that you can have more positive content. Then make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button. And while you're down there, hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a single video we do. Because, friends, at the end of the day, I know it, and you know it. Fandom is family.